Sis, are you tired yet? Like, as the semester winds down, are you starting to feel like you're maybe kind of running out of steam? Because if you're anything like me, you probably started the school year off really, really strong, and you've been holding steady ever since. But the closer that you get to the finish line, the more tempting it is to just throw in the towel and shut it all down. And yes, you've earned your break. Yes, but don't shut it all down just yet, because I want to introduce you to something that I'm calling the semester wind down. It's the approach I'm using with my family to review what we've learned so far this semester and to plan for the coming semester so that we can wrap this thing up nice and neat with a bow all before the break hits. So you can get to making those family memories and basking in that well-deserved end of year break that we all deserve. So grab your earbuds and your drink of choice and lock in with me because you're definitely going to want to hear this. Let's do it. Hi, I'm Elan Page. I'm a homeschool mom of two, and I help families reimagine education in a way that gives your family freedom. If you're watching this toward the end of the year, whether it's the end of the calendar year or the end of the school year, you're probably ready to call it quits. In my world, I'm recording this in December, and y'all, this semester has been semestering. My girls are involved in a bunch of stuff. We've got co-op, we've got volleyball, we've got gymnastics, we've got theater, we've got field trips, and that's just their schedule. On my end, I'm balancing client calls, podcasting, recording YouTube content, running a household, keeping groceries stocked, and trying to keep everybody alive and happy. So when the end of the year rolls around, whether it's the start of the holiday season or the start of summertime, my whole body starts whispering, "We made it. Please, girl, sit down somewhere." Because the thing is this, we haven't been doing all this work this school year, all the planning, all the showing up, and being consistent just to fall apart as soon as the end of the year is on the horizon. But at the same time, though, I'm not trying to push us too hard at the end because I think there can be more than one way to finish strong. So I came up with my December wind down approach. And this can just as easily be your May wind down approach too if you're wrapping up the spring semester. This works at the end of any semester because here's the point. When your body is telling you it's time to slow down, there's a gentler way to wrap up your homeschool year without burning out. And this wind down approach is really one of the best decisions I've made for my family and for our sanity because all of the end of year things are pulling at our time, our energy. So this is a much better way of wrapping up the school year instead of burning out. So let me tell you what my wind down approach is all about. Now, the first thing you're going to want to do is choose one super simple unit study theme. And before we go any further, let me just make sure that we're all on the same page, just in case you're not familiar with what a unit study is. It's where you combine and integrate multiple academic subjects. So think history, language arts, science, and you're going to kind of want to arrange all of this around a central theme or topic. So in other words, instead of studying subjects in isolation, doing a separate math lesson, then a separate history lesson, what happens is with a unit study, all of the learning activities are connected back to the main theme. And this approach really helps kids see how their different studies are all interconnected in the real world. So for our end of year wind down, we're going to start by choosing a theme. And I suggest picking a topic that your kids are already into, something that sparks their natural curiosity and piques their interest to get them excited about this unit study review period that we're going into. Also, selecting one topic streamlines things for you and keeps you from juggling a ton of different worksheets and curriculum resources, because the more simplified, the better. We want to make this easier for everybody, right? And since I'm recording this in December, I'm going to use the theme, What Winter Looks Like Around the World. But if you're listening to this in late spring, you could choose something summer related, or it actually doesn't have to be seasonal at all. It could just be a topic that your child loves, because the theme itself is flexible. The point is to choose something rich and meaningful and easy to adapt across multiple subjects. Okay, now the second step is to break that unit study into subjects. And here's where the magic starts to happen, because this is where we're going to craft our end of semester review. And you can seriously knock this out in like 2 weeks or even less, because this is a really, really flexible approach. But I'm going to walk you through a 2-week approach. So we're going to do 2 or 3 subjects per week, and this is what that looks like. So let's start with language arts. That's your grammar, your reading, and your writing. Now, this semester in our home, my girls have studied parts of speech. So think your nouns, pronouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, etc. They've also studied rules of capitalization, the use of descriptive language and writing style, and sentence types and structure. So simple sentences, compound sentences, complex sentences. So using our winter theme, what we can do is to select a couple of articles that we find online. And we can Google that, or maybe we can look even on like educational websites like PBS Learning Media. And then we can look at different articles that have to do with winter. Now, if your kiddos are maybe into science, they might be interested in what winter looks like in different parts of the world. So your northern hemisphere, your southern hemisphere. Or maybe you could even find historical articles on winter customs and holidays in different countries. Whatever you think your kiddos would be into. Now, I'm going to start off with this scientific angle because I think my girls would like to do that. So I can have them do a couple of separate exercises. So the first exercise is using the entire article, or maybe even just a few paragraphs. I can have my girls identify the parts of speech in each of the sentences that we're reading in the article. The second exercise we can do is that we can identify the types of sentences that are in this article. So simple sentences, compound sentences, complex sentences. And this one can be an oral exercise. It doesn't have to necessarily be written. And we can read through the passage together while my girls identify the types of sentences. And then we can also talk about the how and the why together in real time. And then the third way that we could review our language arts is that we could do a writing exercise to help my girls review all of the things that they studied this semester. So capitalization, sentence structure, parts of speech, all of it, right? And I can give them a prompt that sounds something like this. Compare and contrast what winter looks like in two different places. And typically I would want them to do maybe a cold winter place and then somewhere that maybe is a little bit warmer, like say maybe in the islands or somewhere. Now here's the rest of the prompt. Write about what types of things you might do to celebrate Christmas in each location. Now, of course, you can create whatever type of prompt that you want, but I just know that this is something that my girls would have a lot of fun with. And so that's why I'm offering this one as an example. And that's it, y'all. That's our language arts review for the semester. Now, we could do this over the course of 2 to 3 days. We don't have to cram it all into one day. We could do the first exercise one day, the second exercise the next day, and the third exercise on the third day. And then we're done with language arts for the semester. Are you seeing the vision here? Now, you could do the exact same thing for math, for science, for history, and for any of the other subjects that you studied this semester. And you can focus on one subject for 2 to 3 days, or maybe then the next subject for the next 2 or 3 days. Or you could even stagger it and do 2 subjects at the same time. So like Monday, Wednesday, Friday is language arts, Tuesday, Thursday, you're reviewing science. But however you approach it, just make sure that you give yourselves time to lean into the subject matter so that your kids don't have to feel rushed. They can relax. They can take their time with the content so that you can do a very thorough end of semester review. And that's really it. But I have a bonus for you. You can also use AI to come up with review activities. So you don't have to use your own brain to come up with all of the elements of the review. You can just ask our trusted homeschool bestie, AI. Now, I like to use either ChatGPT or Google Gemini. And here's how you can put together that prompt. First, you're going to share the theme or the topic with AI. And again, in my example, it was winter. Then you're going to share with AI the things that your kiddos have covered so far this semester. And don't worry, you don't have to get overly detailed here. Just make sure that you share your child's grade level or their age and what they've covered, just the same way that I did. Parts of speech, capitalization, types of sentences. That's enough. Then give a range of how many review activities that you want to do. So not too many, because AI can help you kind of combine more than one concept into a single activity. So I like the idea of asking for maybe 3 to 5 activities, because then that way, if you only actually want 2 or 3 activities, then AI can kind of give you more than what you actually need so that you have a few to pick and choose from. So again, using that same language arts example that we already walked through, this is the prompt that I would put in to get review activity ideas. It's currently December, and I want to do a final unit study with my kids to review what they've learned this semester in our homeschool. The topic is what winter looks like around the world. In language arts, these are the concepts that my kids have learned so far. Parts of speech, nouns, pronouns, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs, rules of capitalization, the use of descriptive language and writing style, and sentence types and structure, simple, compound, and complex sentences. Can you please give me 3 to 5 engaging review activities that we can do to ensure they've mastered these learning concepts? And then once it gives you some ideas, you can select the ones that you like and you can get to work. And this type of prompt will work for any subject, as long as you provide AI with all of the pertinent details. Because remember, using AI isn't cheating, it's strategic. So when it's the end of the calendar year or the end of the school year and your brain is tired because you've been working hard all semester long, don't stress yourself out. Let technology carry some of the load for you. And if you want personalized help turning everything that you experienced this semester into a clear, intentional homeschool plan for next year, or if you want some support setting goals, choosing curriculum, or building a rhythm that actually fits your family's real life, I want you to book a one-on-one session with me that I call Design Your Year. We'll look at your family's academic plan and we'll map out your next semester with confidence instead of with overwhelm. I'll include that link for you in the description. So bestie, the bottom line is that the semester wind down approach is meant to allow you to slow down enough to give your kids the time and space to review without unnecessary pressure and to have fun doing it. It also gives you a clearer picture of where you need to start off in your next phase, whether that's moving into the spring semester, learning over the summer, or where you need to start off in the coming school year. The wind down approach is also meant to ensure that you, homeschool mama, don't burn yourself out before you cross the finish line. And both of these things, your kids' learning journey and your sanity, are important to prioritize, especially as you're wrapping up the year. So that's it for today. Make sure to subscribe and to keep tuning in for continued support in your homeschool journey. And don't forget, learning never ever stops. And homeschool is a beautiful way to live that out. I'll see you in the next one.